Quick before it breaks.
Hi, good day, everyone. My name is Dr. Naka. I'm a clinical psychologist, psychotherapist, speech and language therapist, and today I'm going to record another episode for Spectrum Talking Tips, where I'm talking to a lot of different individuals who are neurodivergent individuals and who have done different things in their life. And today I'm very excited because today I'm going to talk with a neurodivergent adult who is autistic herself, and I think she's layers diagnosis also. We will confirm those things from her and her journey also. And she have neurodivergent daughter through, and she has three lovely daughters. And she was just talking to me about her. Hi, how are you, Joilen? I'm sure I'm
I'm
not
good. Good
pronouncing
morning.
it. Okay, so
Hello from cold Wales.
yeah, and this is I'm from Pakistan. That's the way the world is global and being
Yeah.
enjoying the things. So I would like you to talk about yourself a little bit and give your introduction, and I will how you when you were diagnosed, how you're doing, and what struggle you face, and then we'll talk about your daughters too.
Okay. Well, my daughter sort of I found out about my neurodivergent, my ADHD and autism through my daughters really. So they sort of interlap. But a little brief bit about my life. When I was younger, um, I was always like very intelligent in school. I enjoyed school because I enjoyed learning. I was bright. And I think looking back, the routine of it all worked for me, did me a lot of good. Also, I was such a people pleaser. I was always terrified of getting into trouble or my parents telling me off or whatever. So I got the work done because I was so scared of being in trouble. But I used to really struggle with forgetting things, organizing things. Um, Friendships were always quite hard. I always had like a small group of two or three friends, but then eventually something would happen. Looking back, it's my social skills, I think. And we'd all fall out and I'd really feel devastated. And then I'd get a new little group of friends, you know. And that sort of went on all through my life, really. I think when I started high school, I really struggled with that because I didn't seem to fit anywhere. And I think we, especially in women, but I know other people do it too. The masking thing, like I never acted myself around anybody. Like with it, in high school you have different groups of different types of kids, sort of thing. Or at least in my head, it was, oh, those are the type of people, and I'd act differently to fit in with each group. Oh, I'm so sorry about the dog. I've asked my daughter to come and get her. Yeah, so I never really belonged because I was never really acting myself, you know. But I got through school. I had a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression. I think little things looking back, like I used to have a pass so I could go to the toilet whenever I needed to because I'd have stomach aches. But looking back, it's anxiety. And I still do that now. I use that as an excuse to go and have a break if I'm overwhelmed, you know. But then I got through high school, got decent grades. But then, because it wasn't compulsory education anymore, oh no, the video's going funny again. Because it wasn't compulsory education anymore, I couldn't stick to anything. I couldn't finish any courses. I didn't understand why. I just thought I was lazy or disorganized. Is it still recording okay? The screen's gone.
If it's still recording, I don't know what is the problem with my screen, and I think let me try to.
Oh, shall I just carry on?
Okay.
Oh,
No,
there
you
we
should
are.
just carry on. I'm just recording now. I think it's this way better. So tell me the age when
Yeah.
you were diagnosed, because you are telling about your journey that you have a lot of issue with in your school and your. Uh,
Oh, yeah, it was all completely missed. I was in an abusive marriage. Um, I got a job because my dad made me. I stuck to it for 20 years. Loads of time off because of anxiety, overwhelm, stress. And it wasn't until the last 3 years through looking into things for my children that I've realized that I'm autistic. First of all, it was autistic, and then it was and then I saw something about ADHD, which I thought I was so wrong. All I knew about ADHD was the stereotype of the naughty boy bouncing off the classrooms, not sitting still. Um, I didn't know that was my knowledge of ADHD. And then I watched a video from a doctor in a London like private practice, and I watched a video, and he basically described my whole life without meeting me. And at this point, it was only a couple of weeks before then that I'd come very close to taking my life because I was so down. I couldn't understand what was wrong with me. I didn't feel like I was living any sort of life. I was getting lower and lower every time. Yeah, I saw that video and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry about this dog. She's coming. Give me 2 seconds. I'm just gonna get my daughter to take her.
No issue with that.
Oh,
So you were talking about your journey, and I think that must be very hard for you, that you went through a long process, and sometimes we say that we don't have support. It's not even about that. Sometimes we have support. We have good parents, like they support us, like your mother support you, your father support you. Sometimes your teacher support you too. But even then, you are struggling yourself. So I think this is what you're describing yourself, that you were struggling a lot. The whole thing was
yeah,
that just find it out, like it is
yeah.
self-identification you did actually.
I think looking back on my childhood, I mean, to be fair, my parents, they didn't know. And this was in the 80s, I was born in the 80s. It was a different time then. They just didn't know. But in my family, I was the miserable one because I'd have meltdowns and I wouldn't cope with things and I'd get overwhelmed. But then I'd be punished for that. So if, in a way, psychologically, you're being punished for having feelings, you know? Which the last year I've had loads of counselling and I've grown so much and I've dealt with all that. But that's the effect it has when an autistic child is having an overwhelm and they're completely overwhelmed and they can say all sorts of horrible things, but it's not what they mean. It's just what they need to get out of this system because they're so overwhelmed. But I would then be punished for that, which is something I've changed dramatically for my children. You know, my children, I understand my children, so they don't have that punishment for being overwhelmed. You know, which is so important.
And the thing that you are saying that they would punish you, sometime when we are living in a family, when we have a lot of people around us, and for them it's more like that, why don't you get over it? Why don't you act
Yeah,
like other people are acting? Like
yeah,
we buy same thing for you both, like if you're two sibling over there and you don't like it, she's okay with that. If she don't like it, even then she's wearing. So it's not just about the feeling thing. It's about, for example, I'm somebody buys something for you and you're not wearing, you're not okay to comfortable to wear it because we have sensory issue. Sometimes we have hypersensitivity, sometimes we have
yeah,
hypersensitivity, and sometimes it's from the same thing. Then there's some other thing that is about the food. The food struggle is a long way to, we need to understand that we don't, every food is not safe for us. It's not about
yeah,
allergy. I'm not talking about food allergy over here. I'm not talking about food sensitivity. I'm talking about the smell thing. Sometimes you would smell something because we have
yeah,
sensitivity. So every food is not safe for us, and people don't understand that. People, I have heard a lot of mother, they are saying that we cannot eat that thing, or we cannot cook separate for that person. Like I have to cook
yeah,
the whole day, I have to work all the time, and I'm cooking a food or meal for everybody, and I cannot cook separately for this child. So I think uh, uh, childhood is hard. Play time is hard when we are doing at a home. Friendships are hard, like you said that you have very few friends in your when you were growing up. And sometimes maybe I would say that sometimes we forget a lot of things, but trauma stays there, you know and
yeah,
our response is trauma based actually, and we don't realize.
yes,
And
yeah,
we forget a lot of things, but we don't forget the trauma and the experience we get from that. And I think you described that you have had this order, and you try to break the cycle. You try to become a
yes,
better person for your children. And somebody said this to me, that if you're a neurodivergent person, it is difficult to you know um, work with a child who is neurodivergent as well. And at that time I was thinking that I don't know if it's possible or not, but you understand what child is going through. You understand
Yeah.
that I was at that stage and I was facing the same thing. So you try to become a better parent for your child. Actually, I think my screen is a little.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what about now?
And
Sorry for.
now,
I think you better talk, and I should not ask question because our screen
oh
is
no.
acting
Yeah.
funny. I have to change it again.
Yeah. Um, so through after like what that light bulb moment, I'd say, of realizing about the ADHD, because I was already questioning about the autism because my middle child was already diagnosed autistic, but she was your stereotypical, obviously amazingly quirky, like autistic child. You know, it was easy to diagnose her, like to see she was autistic. And you know, we went through, it wasn't until she was about 8 we decided to get her diagnosed, because we thought she'll probably need extra help when she's in high school, because until then she was doing all right in primary school. Her teachers loved her quirks, and you know, she had friends that were like little mothers to her in school, you know, and it was fine. But I knew when she got to high school she'd need extra help, you know, and the change and things. So yeah, so even then, although I had an autistic child, I didn't know it in depth. I just knew my daughter, who was your stereotypical, you know, autistic person. That's all. That was still my knowledge of autism, really. But um, things were as things with time was going on, and we had lockdown, and we all severely struggled with lockdowns during COVID. It was awful for all of us. You know, we really struggled with it. Um, but then through the darkness, I started reaching out, started joining different groups and parent groups and support groups and speaking to other neurodivergent people. And I was like, and I was like, I belong here. These are my people. I understand myself. And then at the same time, I mean, I've had an atrocious battle with trying to get, you know, education for my older two. That's awful. And being a neurodivergent person, that's even harder, because my memory is so terrible. So I forget what people have said in meetings, and then people don't do what they said they're going to do. And then I'm confused. And then it's the emotional regulation when you're having constant meetings all the time, and you feel so isolated and lonely. So and also I was sort of at a point where everything was just about the kids, the children, you know, and my life was completely last, bottom of the rung, like I didn't matter. But I started to realize, actually, this is an area I feel like I belong here. And this is something I'm really passionate about. I can see what's going wrong. I can see what could be better. And some things that don't cost loads of money, but that could make a big difference to people. So then I started, you know, reaching out, getting involved with all different things. And it gave me such a confidence that I'd never had before. I thought before things like me getting my words tied up, or me forgetting things, or missing things meant that I didn't have a deserve a seat at the table. Like I thought it meant I was faulty, so I wasn't qualified to have an opinion or my voice matter. But actually, the more I got involved with things, the more I was like, wow, they need to hear me. I need to be there. And it's just grown my confidence so much. I'm a different person. If you'd met me 18 months ago, you wouldn't recognize me. I'm a completely different person. And that's the gift of knowing about my neurodivergence, understanding myself,
You know, that is a very
working.
the bumpy road. If you talk about the road is very bumpy. In start, it comes
Yeah,
get on you, but you know, sometimes people say that you know, if you might have heard read my post where I asked for the age, and the highest age came was 70, and somebody is saying that her grandmother, who is 78 years old, is getting diagnosis for autism, and they have three
yeah,
generations back. So it means that
yeah,
why at the age of 60, 63, 62 people are getting diagnosed, because their whole life was something, a question for them, and they might the need
yeah,
for to have diagnosis. You know, sometimes people don't afford diagnosis, people cannot have that diagnosis because it's very expensive. But the point is, the moment you get maybe you self-identify yourself with some group. If you get this idea, just go to those people and talk to those people. It's going to help you out a lot. Like like if you talk about yourself, and maybe you think that you are doing nothing, but if you say something, and you might have not idea don't have this idea that there are thousands of people in the whole world, they don't have a voice for that. They want to hear
Yeah.
something, they want to hear good word, they also want to hear bad things too, because on social
Yeah.
media it is everything is good, and life is not like that.
Yeah.
Life is not
No.
the garden. We have struggles, and before, okay, we have struggle, and struggles are very bad. Like, it's not good struggle.
Yeah.
These roads are bumpy. So also tell me about the thing that you started. Like, I'm also part of that thing somehow, but that group that you have, the thing that we do
Oh, the
every Friday.
our
Maybe
carers
have
chat.
it.
Well, this is part of me growing in confidence and getting involved in different things. And Marie, I'd seen her story, I'd seen some of her posts, but I'd never interacted or spoken to her. And I saw her on there, like, she's going to start this carers chat. Is anybody able to help me out? And I thought, yeah, why not?
Yeah, that is amazing.
I'll give it a go. And this was just part of me taking opportunities, trying new things for the first time in my life, having the confidence to just try things. And she rang me, and we just got on instantly on the phone. We were chatting for a while, and then the next day we did our first carers chat, and it went so well. And we've been doing them every week, and I really look forward to it. I've met you through it. We've met amazing people, and I really hope, and from the the feedback and the people that message me, it just makes people feel less alone. Because I know when I was my lowest, loneliness is so painful,
Exactly. That is
and
the point.
and it and it's like trying to swim through like quicksand. You can't pull yourself out of it. So if I can help ease that even a little bit for anyone, then that means the world to me, because I know I've been there.
And whatever, no matter whatever you do, no matter we have how many friends we can have, for example, if they're neurotypical, if I said this to somebody that I am not that social. They say that, oh, you are so quick. You do this. Like, for example, you go this support group. You do this support group. For example, I have support group in the day that is for my own in my own language. Then I have another two. So I'm doing those things, and they don't understand that I'm doing something which give sense to me, to sense to my work, sense to
Yeah.
my life, and I don't feel alone there, because in my whole life, in my university time, I was like that. The way you are talking, and I never get this idea that what is wrong with me, why I cannot
Yeah.
be in that group. And I remember my major presentations, my major presentation, the major group presentations, I used to give all of them alone, because I never get this idea what to do, where to do. I had this friend, and then somebody came in between in that friendship, and she go to that place. After that, she came to me again, and now she again still talk to me, and she know that if she have some problem, I am the one always empathetic one,
Yeah.
because neurodivergent autistic people are always more empathetic than other people. But
Yeah.
like you said, that I will go to about that thing again, and like you said that when we are in our school time, you have this problem too. When we are in our university time, when we are college time, and when we are socialization, sorry, the word is not coming to my mouth. When
That's
we are
okay.
socializing, sometimes this happens, because when you're
Yeah.
emotional, because the journey is very emotional, and it is so relatable. We put so much effort, extra effort. We go beyond our
Yeah.
capacity to go to that person, go to that person's to that level. So we are so likable. So people get hooked
Yes.
with us. So they ask us to sit with themselves, to sit in their group, and they ask for to go to out with them. They ask for us to go to shopping with them, to lunch with them, and we are so desperate for that thing, and that
Yeah.
that give us meltdown, series of meltdown,
Yes.
and we don't have this
Yeah.
idea what is happening with us. And I wish we have more discussions like that, and that's the reason, like you said, that every voice matters.
Yeah. It does.
Everything matters. You don't
Yeah.
need to go
And
to
talking.
extra
Yeah.
level or something.
Yeah. Talking about that, I've got from when I because I worked in the same place for 20 years, which is a miracle actually. But I was really good at my job because I did things methodically. But I've got two really good friends from my time there. They're sisters, actually. I call them my safe friends, because I've known them so long, and I'm sort of myself. And they're really great. We're going to Rome for a couple of days, actually in March, which I can't wait for. But they understand, like, I'm not going to be the one organising if we go anywhere. Just tell me where, tell me when, and I'll be there. And they've also understood in the past when I've cancelled things, they don't resent me for it. And when I started learning about my neurodivergence, they were some of the first people I told, because I felt safe. I wouldn't be judged, and that means the world. And I might not organise the places we're going to, or when we go away for a couple of days, I might not. I just turn up, but I bring the fun.
But that is amazing thing. I whenever somebody asked me, I said that please go to a place that is comfortable. Go a place where you can be yourself. Go a place where you can unmask yourself. Even then, and you will find your clan. That person have this I would not say this problem, because I don't like those. We have problems. We need treatment for that. Things like that. But like-minded people, like-minded neurodivergent people, and it's good to back each other. Sometimes you might have this idea that we face a lot of negativity around from the same neurodivergent people. And I'm talking about, if you write down something and they would say, oh, did not happen to me, and this happened to me, and that's why everybody one is bad. So I think it is important to have a open-mindedness in all perspective, and we need to give space to each other also, because there was a discussion on bullying, and I asked the question, because this happened to, what about the bullying that you're facing from same autistic people? Are you an easy target for that? That is.
And I'll go one step further than that. What about the bullying we do to ourselves?
That is
internal, our inner voice. Yes, we do. Because to me, I'm still that miserable child from when I was younger, and I have to work on that. I have to parent that child inside me, I have to be nice to that. But then, I've done a lot of work on this, and I would say, it is part of the neurodivergent journey, especially in late diagnosed. I'd say it is going back over your life experiences and sort of reparenting yourself and just having more compassion for yourself.
Yeah.
And I think I've done a lot of that work, and now the latest stage I'm in with my personal growth is being honest to family, friends, if I go anywhere, about accommodations I need, and not feeling like I'm a nuisance, or I'm asking for too much, or I'm expecting too much. At the end of the day, it is a disability. And, for example, I'm part of this. It's an amazing opportunity. It's called Equal Power, Equal Voice. And it's through the Welsh Government, and they want to get more diverse people into public life, which one of my special interests has always been politics. I've always loved it. So, but we go into in Wales, we're going to our Parliament at the end of January, and they said about, if you need help to get there, or let us know. And I was like, oh no, I'll be okay. And I would have really struggled. I hate trains, and then it's a different city, and I would have been off there. So it was one of the first times I did it. I was like, actually, I'm going to really struggle with this. And they're like, no, it's fine. And they're paying for me to have a taxi there and a taxi back. So it means when I get there, I've still got energy. I'm not already overwhelmed.
Exactly.
And that's because I spoke up about what I needed. And I just think the more times I do that, it gets easier for me, but also it makes those people aware for the next person that comes after me. But it's hard.
And it also helps you to understand that when you do that with yourself, when you love yourself and you put yourself first, your productivity is maximum. You do very good over there. So that is very important to understand for all of us too, because but we can, deduce from the discussion we're having, start loving yourself.
Yes.
Who you are and what are your needs. Talk about that. Even talk to your children about it. I'm not feeling okay right now. I have issue doing that. Sometimes children are expecting too much from the mother too. because okay, she's our mother, she has to be a provider all the time, she need to be there to listen to us. So I think that is important, what you did with yours for yourself, and what you did for your that specific discussion or specific place you're talking about, that you need to go there. I think one day a time will come, then it will be so easy for you to ask and say no. And we cannot say,
Yeah.
we know that it is very difficult for us to say no, it's very difficult for us to draw the boundaries, not just with friendship. And
Boundaries, personal
as a
boundaries are
neurodivergent
so
person,
important.
we put so much effort to neurotypical people, and they have taken advantage of us. You know this idea that they take maximum advantage of that. Okay, this is a person, she's not going to say anything, so it's my choice, whatever I do with that, and we are not going to
Yeah.
invite her in this discussion, because she's okay whatever we give her, she's okay with whatever food we offer her, or the place
Yeah.
we offer her. So just putting yourself at the end, even if you're a mother,
Yeah.
that is going to mingle with your mental health. So I think
Yes.
you somehow get this idea that that is a time that you need to listen to yourself, listen to your body. And if we say that, what are the difficulties you face as a neurodivergent mother? So other people,
Oh,
there's so many
so
things,
many.
there's so many things, but
Yeah.
the main thing that you think that other people need to understand that.
Um, I think, well, the we experience neurodivergent people experience a lot of emotional dysregulation, and we also experience rejection sensitivity, and that's really hard raising children, especially teenagers. Teenagers can be brutal, you know.
Special puberty,
That's really hard.
puberty is very difficult, and
Yeah. Oh,
divergent
yeah.
puberty is more difficult. People don't have this idea.
Yeah, and also things like having children with ADHD, especially my youngest, she really struggles sleeping, right? So in nighttime, she really struggles to settle down. But by that time of day, I'm done. My energy is gone. And it's hard then to give her the patience she deserves, because I don't want her to feel ashamed because she's struggling with it. She's genuinely struggling. But I've got nothing left in my tank. So things I've started working on recently is like that's another struggle as a parent, is planning meals. Like, having to think of something every day, like when you've got really bad executive function. What? So now I've got planners everywhere, but that's my like weekly
That is
one. So we
amazing.
write down, yeah, so we write down what we're going to have every week, each day, so I don't have to think about that. And some things, if I can do, or at least start it or cook most of it during the day when I've got more energy, by the time the evening comes around, I've just got to warm it through or finish it off. That's It's about managing where your energy is through the day, you know? So that's really helping at the moment. Um, what else? Again, being kind to yourself. Like when you're struggling, you see your children struggling, and then you're a divergent, they've got their own struggles. That's really hard. But then when you're struggling as well, and you're in overwhelm, how do you have time? How do you have room to support your child?
And I,
But
one
that is,
question is coming in my mind. Sorry, I'm cutting you, because
yeah,
I don't have
that's
that much
okay.
time. It is going to be, turn off at any moment. When you have meltdown, and when your child have meltdown, that is the most struggling part, I would say. According to my, there are other struggle too, but that part,
Yeah.
when you both have meltdowns, that could be somehow a more burden of on you, on your child, and you as well. So how you do
Yeah.
that?
Well, first of all, I put a lot of work into myself, so my meltdowns are a lot less. But also, the same thing I do with my children. If they're having meltdowns and stuff, and I explain to them what's going on, and then I help them through afterwards, they understand what I'm going through, you know? And sometimes people think, oh, you shouldn't cry in front of your child, you shouldn't put your problems on your child. It's not that I'm putting my problems
Communication
on
is
my
important.
children,
It's very
but
important.
they live in the same house as me, and they see how I manage myself. So although it feels at the moment, at the time, and I feel ashamed for getting like that in front of around the children, not maybe not even in the same room, but they know. you know? Like, I think, especially because they're neurodivergent people too, it's showing them, well, this is part of who we are. And actually, it doesn't mean you're a bad person. And then you learn the ways to help yourself. And they see me, I do my guided meditation, I do my allotment, growing my vegetables, I do all this stuff around the neurodivergent community because it makes me feel good. But it just, they understand about needing to pace yourself, needing to be aware of yourself. And the big thing for me, I think, from my childhood is not feeling ashamed because you got overwhelmed, and I think that's a gift the neurodivergent parent can give their neurodivergent child.
So I think that was very amazing discussion to have you. And the end part that you mentioned is, I think, the most important part. That's how we are. And if you start lying to your child, I think that is the biggest regret you're going to get, that you lie to your, because this is what they are going to learn, and you are a role model for your child. So thank you so much
Yes.
for sharing your journey with me today.
Thank
And
you.
I will maybe ask you again to come to discuss or give tip,
Anytime.
because that was amazing. Because what works for me also is my routines. If I
Yes.
set my routine, I am very good at that day, and I feel very good too because I accomplished something. And if I don't have routine, then it's going to cost me a lot, emotionally and mentally and physically too. And sometimes if I don't understand what is going to happen or what I'm going to do, because it's a
Yeah.
mess on our head. So the tips that you give to the parents and what works for you, that's all. I hope people get some idea. And the point is, every voice matters. Whatever you do, whatever you say, how you help other people, you don't have to go to a bigger length to be a to matter or to help
Yeah.
somebody. Even sometimes, somebody say this on, I think on this was on our discussion too last time. We have this on Friday, that empathy is something we don't have right now, and people are not
Mm.
supporting you emotionally. So if you support somebody emotionally, if you say that I am there for you and I am listening to you, that is, maybe that neurodivergent mother is, listening. You don't need to help her, just stay there and listen to her. I think
Yeah.
that might be the best time, the best thing that you do for them. And that was amazing discussion, and amazing having you seen the next, and very I would say that thank you so much. I'm so
Yeah.
happy.
Let's do another one.
We both talk a lot, I guess. Glad about it. Thank you so much, and thanks for having to giving me the time. See you very soon.